This is a quick lesson on polylines. Now, we've been using lines and arcs in the past, but a polyline is different in that it is one entity. So as we draw a polyline, it becomes a continuous element, and we can swap between lines and arcs. So if we select arc midstream, we can change it to an arc and back to line again, and then we're back in a straight line. We've got the same function as with drawing continuous line, where we press C for close or click on close and it will close the object. So that's one of the main features of polylines. That is an entity, and the beauty of that is when we get to 3D that we can actually extrude that to form a solid. It's gone off doing something. Looks like it's all gone off and hung itself up at the moment. It's not going to let me, not going to talk to me. Okay, here we are, we're back again. So if we were to extrude, for example, that polyline, that should come up as a solid. I'd have to switch to a 3D workspace and see that that is actually a solid rather than a surface model. Back to 2D, and one of the main reasons we use polylines is you can change the thickness. So we'll just go back into polyline, and once we click to start the line, you can see that we've got the option to set a half width or a width. If it's set to 0, then it's a thin line. If I change that width to 10, for example, and draw a line, it draws a thick line. So I started with 0 at my start point, I switched to 10, so it drew a line that was increasing up to 10, and now it's drawing a line that's actually 10 thick. And the same thing happens if I do a close. It tries to close back to the point, and once again that's a single entity. Now there is a command called fill, and it is either on or off, and if we set that to off, our polylines are not filled. Let's see if it works. Yep, so that's working as an unfilled polyline. That could be useful in some cases. I'll just set it back to fill on again, and we'll go back into polyline. One useful thing that we can use with polyline is if we want to make an arrow, we can set our width to 0 and draw. So it's currently got a starting width, a large starting width. Let's try that again. Polyline, start point, we'll set our width, and our starting width, we'll set that to 0. Our ending width, we'll set that to 0, and now it will just draw a straight line. Now if we go to width again, and we say we want to make that, I'll make it 50, starting width of 50, and an ending width of 0, and then draw the line. It's not that obvious, but what's happened is we've drawn a nice arrow. So you can draw arrows using a polyline, or a triangular shape using a polyline. Now one last thing is the donuts, or not the last thing, but one extra useful thing is the donuts. We've got a donut command on the draw menu. First thing it's asking for here is the inside diameter of the donut. I'm going to set that to 50. The outside diameter of the donut, let's set that to 150. And when we place our donut, we get inside 150, outside 150. If I just change that to an inside of 100 and outside of 150, let's try that again. Inside diameter 100, outside of 150, and then place it a different shaped donut. I'll just regenerate that screen, and it redefines the outside of the circle to give us a smooth edge. Now, one last thing is, if we are drawing with lines and arcs and we want to change it to a polyline, we can do so by using the p-edit command, or the polyline edit command. It's on the modify menu, this one here, edit polyline, or you can type in p-edit. What we're going to do is convert this. You can see that it's separate entities of lines and arcs. If we select one of them, it says this is not a polyline, do you want to turn it into one? I'll say yes please, and then what I can do is join other lines and arcs to it. When I press enter and jump out of the command, you can see that that has now been changed into a single polyline.